Welcome to the Ranking Things podcast, a production of Jason Davis VoiceOver. Please visit jasondavisvoice.com for information about voiceover services for commercials, internet and corporate videos, e-learning, phone messages, and more. I'm Jason Davis.
I'm Eric Wright.
And each episode of the Ranking Things podcast, we're going to choose a topic to rank and defend our choices. And it's the podcast where you can be part of the conversation. Email us, rankingpodcasts@yahoo.com, or tweet @JasonDavisVoice. And Eric, we are going to cover a subject this time that is probably more skewed toward you.
Perhaps a little bit. This person, I think, one of the greatest, I have to say, entertainer. A musician. He's completely created his own brand. Weird Al Yankovic.
You gotta love Weird Al. Weird Al's a 4-time Grammy winner.
Yes.
4 gold, 6 platinum records. Mm-hmm. That may have even changed.
Yeah.
He even did a spot as a guest editor of Mad Magazine in 2015. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. Yeah. See, you built me up as the Weird Al expert.
I only know that.
Have more stuff.
No. I only know that because I saw an interview where they talked about that.
One time we saw him in concert, and we're looking at the T-shirts and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I asked the woman working there. I heard Al is kind of particular, and she rolls her eyes and she laughs and she says, yes, he's a great guy, but before every show he actually comes and looks at all the tables with all the merchandise and actually looks and makes sure all the merchandise is laid out a certain way. To have that kind of a brain where you get entrenched in that kind of a detail, but then you're also big-brained enough to write movies and write these songs.
There's no question that Weird Al is a crazy genius.
Absolutely.
He really is. And people, I don't think, give him the credit that he deserves as far as his voice.
Yeah.
And, musicianship, he plays accordion. Does he play other instruments, or?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he plays other instruments. Obviously, the parodying is the big thing.
Oh, yeah.
That he's known for. And I mean, that was just a real leap to begin with.
Yeah. And see, that's my favorite Weird Al stuff, the parodies of specific songs, because he also does style parodies too.
Yes.
He has a song called Craigslist, which is like a Doors parody, but it's not a parody of a specific Doors song.
Exactly.
Or of the style.
Right, yeah. And he's got a bunch of those. One of my favorites, he does a take on Devo. Dare to be stupid.
Right.
And actually, there's another one on my list. So.
Okay. The top 5 Weird Al, we'll call
Weird Al. For me, number 5 is a song from the 2003 Poodle Hat album.
Okay.
Which was a Grammy winner.
Aha.
And the song is called Bob.
Oh, okay. I know exactly what that
the song?
is.
It's all palindromes.
Genius.
How the heck?
The video is brilliant. The video is amazing.
Yeah, the video is, and you're talking about doing a song in a style, and it's obviously a Bob Dylan style.
Right. And that's even more genius, because Bob, obviously,
is a palindrome itself.
Exactly.
Right.
And then he does the song in the style of Bob Dylan.
Yeah, and he also, if you see the video, it's also kind of a takeoff on In Excess Mediate, where he's just got the cue cards.
Mm-hmm. But I think that was actually an homage to something that Bob Dylan did.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
exactly.
That thing with the cue cards.
Yeah, the Subterranean Homesick Blues.
Right.
And even if Al Googled all these palindromes, even if he did that and didn't come up with them on his own,
he fit them into a song.
He fit them exactly.
It's really cool.
It's crazy. So right there, just the fact that there's no other song like it on earth. So it had to be on my list. And it's just so much fun to listen to. And I like, doing the Bob Dylan song. So, he's got just some of these funny things like, Ma is as selfless as I am. May a moody baby doom a yam. And you're like, and then you look at the words and you spell, it's like, yeah, that is spelled backwards as forwards. And one of my favorites is another line. It's like, a dog, a panic, in a pagoda. I think I've looked at that song more than any other song.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely one you want to check out the video so you can kind of follow along.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
So that's my number 5.
Okay.
How about you?
Number 5 for me is the classic Eat It.
Oh, yes.
That's really my first memory of Weird Al.
Okay.
Peaked at number 12 on the Billboard chart. Mm-hmm. The video was so authentic to the Michael Jackson Beat It clip. I'm telling you, I remember the first time seeing Eat It, thinking it was Michael Jackson, because there's a beginning part of the video where there's no music. It's just like, the setup of the, the gang stuff and all that.
Yeah.
And it's not until I think he walks into the restaurant and he grabs the girl by the hair to kiss her and he pulls her head off. But it's Weird Al.
Yeah, it's just everything. Like when he's, as he's dancing. Actually, when he was making that video, they're all doing the big dance thing, the both gangs, and they're all dancing. The director had to tell Al, wait, you need to mess up a little bit. Because Al's dancing was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's why he just goes overboard with, flicking the head all over the place. And because he's a genius at everything he does. Everything he touches, he can do.
So a couple of other things. The guitar solo is pretty much spot on to the Eddie Van Halen solo in the Michael Jackson version.
Right.
But in the video, like the guy explodes like on the last note. He's like, and then the other thing I thought was really cool that Weird Al did was that he followed up Beat It a couple of years later with Fat.
Fat.
Which is funny on two levels because Fat, Eat It, Fat. And then, but it came from the album Even Worse.
Even Worse.
Because Michael Jackson's album was bad. So there you go. So that's my number 5, Eat It. What do you got for number 4?
All right. So number 4 is off the 1996 album Bad Hair Day.
Okay.
It's Gump.
Ah, great one.
Which is, a parody of Lump from Presidents of the United States. I like Lump to begin with. I just think that's a cool song. I like the beat and everything. So when Al's parodies seemed effortless, like when the main theme just fits in what the original title was, and then the words just seem to flow. I mean, there are sometimes some songs to me feel like he might have been kind of trying hard to make it fit.
Okay.
But where it just naturally flows, the way it opens up with, Gump sits alone on a bench in a park.
My name is Forrest, he casually remarked.
It just flows.
I love Gump,
Come
by
on,
the way.
there's
Big fan. It's not in my top 5, but it's going to be on my honorable mentions.
Right. And he's really great at capturing like everything in the movie. So like there's 3 lines. His buddy Baba was a shrimp-loving man. His friend with no legs, he called Lieutenant Dan. His girlfriend Jenny was kind of a slut. Went to the White House, showed LBJ his butt. He's Gump. There's like half the movie right there.
Yeah.
He sums it up. He nails it. So what's your 4?
Number 4 for me, Smells Like Nirvana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Great.
Which, of course, is a parody of Smells Like Teen Spirit. I know I read in an interview or saw an interview with one or more members of Nirvana, and they said they knew they made it when Weird Al did a parody of one of their songs.
Yep, absolutely.
And to me, a brilliant version of the song. The authenticity of the music and the video are just off the charts good.
And I like how with some of his lyrics, he's speaking a little bit about the band themselves. And I think some of the singing where at one point he's got all the marbles in his mouth.
That's actually, I made a note, my favorite lyric in the song. It's so unintelligible. I just can't get it through my skull. It's hard to bargle, noddle, zouse with all these marbles in my mouth. Brilliant. Just awesome.
It's great. And in the video, when he's doing the guitar and they got the wang and he bends the guitar.
I made a note about that too. Yeah, the whole guitar bends.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
And just that he's able to do all that with his voice. He can do the screaming.
That's the amazing thing about Weird Al. Yeah, exactly. He covers all these different artists.
Yeah.
Different genders even. And his voice is just real malleable. It really, he does it. It's amazing.
Yeah, one of my, going on the opposite end, he does a parody of Crash Test Dummies. And he's singing that. He's like, once there was a kid who was like, holy crap, how is he doing that?
Yeah.
And in concert, he does, since there's so many, songs. I mean, he's got like over 300 recorded songs.
Oh, man.
So since he's got so many.
And a lot of hits, too.
Yeah. He makes a medley.
Okay.
So there'll be like a 20-minute stint in the concert.
Where he plays like a portion of each of the songs.
And he'll go through like, 20 songs.
That's awesome.
It's fantastic because you want to hear them all.
Right.
But
and
you can't
better
sit there
to hear
for 4 days.
Yeah, but better to hear like a minute and a half of each than nothing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool.
And Weird Al fans are nuts.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. One of the things he does in concerts, he does a lot of costume changes. In between, he's got videos up behind him, big screens. And so while he's doing this change, the big screens will have like an interview of a star.
Okay.
And so, for example, they had one where it was Madonna. Weird Al is asking her questions like he's interviewing her.
Right.
And he'll say, well, what sound does a lawnmower make? And it'll be, Madonna was like, clearing her throat or something. And as she's talking, she was looking up. It's like, all right, that's just weird. And then it cuts to him, and he's like looking up. It's like, what the hell are you looking at up there? And she's going on and on about, Hinduism and all that. And it just keeps cutting back to him. So it's just brilliant. And he does that through all
fun.
the different things. So
one other note about the Smells Like Nirvana video.
Yeah.
I think he used the same cheerleaders that Nirvana used in their video.
Oh, okay.
All right, so what do you got for number 3?
Number 3 from the 2006 album Out of Linwood, which is a freaking awesome album, White and Nerdy.
Okay.
So it's a parody of Ridin' by Chamillionaire. Now, I don't know squat about Chamillionaire. So
Nor do I.
And honestly, when I first heard this song, White and Nerdy, I thought it was original.
Okay.
And that's something that's happened because in the 80s and most of the 90s, I knew when he did a parody. But getting into the 2000s, he's parodying songs that I don't know because I don't listen to most of the current music.
Yeah, that's not
and
my
most
thing
pop
either.
music is not my thing now.
Right.
So I'm just saying, wow, this is a funny ass movie. He's talking about they see me mowing my front lawn. And the gangsters come by and he's all white and nerdy and everything. I'm like, oh, this is hilarious.
Did you catch the cameos that are in the video?
Some of them.
In the beginning when he's mowing the lawn and the gangsters pull up, that's Key and Peele.
Is it?
Yeah, Key and Peele.
I have to look more closely.
And then later in the video, Donny Osmond is dancing with him.
Yes, Donny Osmond. Yeah. Again, the lyrics, when he's doing like some rapping kind of stuff, and he's like, my rims never spin. To the contrary, you'll find that they're quite stationary.
Yeah.
All of my action figures are cherry. Steve Hawkins in my library.
Yeah.
He just immerses himself. And so now this white and nerdy guy, you really, really get a picture of this guy from what Al is just spitting out so much information so fast.
A reason why it's definitely good to watch the video for this one too, because a lot of the lyrics are pop up on the screen while he's saying them because they're so good and they're so fast that it's very easy to miss the brilliance if you're not looking. By the way, White and Nerdy, number 3 for me as well.
Oh, you're kidding!
This might be the first time we've ever had the same whatever in the same slot.
But when we did like baseball movies, I think baseball movies is a smaller sample. The fact that we've got this huge library of songs to choose from.
Right, and you're a bigger Weird Al guy than I am. I love Weird Al, but you probably know more of his stuff than I do. White and Nerdy is actually his biggest hit, too. It's his only top 10 hit, peaking at number 9. And I thought that was amazing when I read that. Like, I can't believe this is the only song that cracked the top 10 for Weird Al. But I guess chart success does not measure how much of an impact he's had. That's for sure. But
yeah, exactly.
Probably my favorite song of his lyrically, just because of how clever it is.
Right. Yeah.
And how funny. Some of the lyrics that I made a note of. Happy Days is my favorite theme song. I could sure kick your butt in a game of ping pong. I'll ace any trivia quiz you bring on. I'm fluent in JavaScript as well as Klingon. And then the other part that you mentioned, I memorize Holy Grail real well. I can recite it right now and have you ROTFL.
Yeah, right.
I mean, just...
And I identify with, memorizing the Holy Grail.
Yeah, exactly. Only question I ever thought was hard, do I like Kirk or do I like Picard? So yeah, White and Nerdy, number 3 for me too. Just a brilliant song.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got for number 2?
Number 2, I have from the I'm laughing just thinking about this. 1999's Running with Scissors.
Okay.
Which is a fantastic album. Pretty Fly for a Rabbi.
Okay.
Again, lyric that's obviously a take off The Offspring's Pretty Fly for a White Guy.
Right.
I think he, for me, writes something that just blows me off my chair when it comes to being funny. First of all, just the way it starts off. How you doing, Bernie? Oy vey, oy vey. How you doing, Bernie? Oy vey, oy vey. And then all the volume say, I'm pretty fly for a rabbi. It gets going. So near the end of the song, he's doing a bar mitzvah that you shouldn't miss. He'll always schlep on down for a wedding or a bris. He's got a lot of chutzpah. He's really quite hip. The parents pay the moil, and he gets to keep the tip. Ew. Oh my God, that's so disgusting, but that's hilarious. And the cool thing too is he's not dirty. He does innuendo,
right?
But he's never, and that's one of the things I really like about him is that you can raise your kids listening to him and never be worried that he's going to come out with like an F-bomb or say something that is just so, discussing or derogatory. How about you? What's your 2?
Number 2 for me is Amish Paradise.
Oh, excellent choice.
So this is an interesting song, too, because this is a parody of a remake. In a sense.
Really?
Yeah, so...
see, again, I'm not a Coolio fan, so
well,
what the
neither
hell
am
do
I.
know?
This is a parody of Coolio's Gangsta's Paradise, which was from the film Dangerous Minds.
Okay.
Coolio's song samples a Stevie Wonder song called Pastime Paradise.
Oh, it does?
The music and the chorus are almost identical, the only difference being the lyrics. This is another song that I think, again, the video... You got to see the video because in the movie, Michelle Pfeiffer, plays this character, and in the video, it's Florence Henderson.
Florence Henderson.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the VH1 Behind the Music, Weird Al talks about Coolio having a problem with the parody. Like he said, I didn't approve of this. Which is kind of weird to begin with because it's not even your song anyway.
Yeah, right.
So I don't understand.
Get over yourself.
But forget about that. Weird Al's response to that was, he did cash the royalty checks, so he couldn't have been too too pissed.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, Amish Paradise, just so funny. The whole first verse, genius.
Oh, absolutely.
As I walk through the valley where I harvest my grain, I take a look at my wife and realize she's very plain. But that's just perfect for an Amish like me. I shun fancy things like electricity. At 4:30 in the morning, I'm milking cows. Jebediah feeds the chickens and Jacob plows. Fool.
Okay.
And I've been milking and plowing so long that even Ezekiel thinks that my mind is gone. I'm a man of the land. I'm into discipline, got a Bible in my hand and a beard on my chin. But if I finish all my chores and you finish thine, then tonight we're going to party like it's 1699.
Oh, yeah.
Everything in this song is brilliant. And I was thinking about it when I was preparing my list. I was thinking, I wonder if Amish people would be offended by this song. And then I realized they probably have never heard it. They don't have electricity. They probably don't watch MTV or whatever.
Right. Not unless,
somebody brought it to,
Yeah, somebody, I don't know. Now I kind of want to go to like Lancaster and blast Amish Paradise, which was off the 1996 album Bad Hair Day.
All right, so does that bring us to number 1?
Yeah, we're getting up to number 1 already.
What do you got?
Probably no surprise. This is a very popular song. It's off the 1985 Dare to Be Stupid album, where he does a parody of the Kinks' Lola Yoda. Lyrically, it's perfect.
Okay.
I was in college. My roommate did the Dr. Mento show. The show came in an album, and he had to play the album, and then when it went to the Bubblicious commercials, he had to do local public announcements and stuff.
Okay.
I was listening to the Dr. Mento show, and at the end of the show, they would do the most requested songs. And it was always like, Fish Heads and the same old Barnes and Barnes stuff.
Right.
Al had started making impact. Dr. Mento said, okay, and now our number 1 is something new from Weird Al. And it starts off with the guitar, and it sounds exactly like Lola.
And that's one of the things that I think is what makes Weird Al genius.
Yeah.
Is that it's not just, these great lyrics that he writes, which are phenomenal, but the fact that when he goes into the studio to record a parody, he does everything possible to really mimic the original tone and vibe of the original song that he's doing a parody
and
of.
That's got something to say, of course, about the musicians he's with.
The band, phenomenal.
Yeah. So I just like that. The way it opens up with, I saw the little runt sitting there on the log. I asked him his name, and in the raspy voice, he said, Yoda. Y-O-D-A, Yoda. It's like, and it just goes on and on. So that's it. That's my 1. What's yours?
So very interesting that you chose Yoda for your number 1.
I bet I know what yours is.
The Saga Begins.
Saga Begins. Sure. Star Wars fan.
I didn't choose it strictly because I'm a Star Wars fan, because I'm a Star Wars fan, but not a Star Wars geek like some people.
Right.
When I say that, I mean that respectfully.
With
I don't mean
love.
that. Yeah, totally. I don't mean that in a disparaging way at all. The reason I chose Saga Begins for number 1 for me, I can't hear American Pie anymore.
No.
Without singing, my mind, this here Anakin guy, maybe Vader someday later. Yeah, I mean, it's just
a small fry.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
First of all, to take American Pie.
Yes.
And do a parody of it 30 years after it came out, maybe?
Right.
Something like that. And it was great. I mean, I guess, American Pie is one of those songs that's kind of timeless.
Oh, it absolutely is. And I think it just shows, the cojones that Weird Al has to take on a song like that.
Yeah, exactly. The thing about it that I love is that the song is more entertaining and coherent than the movie that it's about. I think Star Wars The Phantom Menace is a hot mess. and Weird Al sums up the entire plot of the film so concisely. Listen to The Saga Begins and skip the movie.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Well, you know what? It did help me because I didn't understand what was happening in the movie.
Thank you.
But he sums it up really well. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that is what happened. The video is, very cool where he's got the evil emperors playing the piano.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy thought that was very funny.
Yes. My favorite lyrics, and the Jedi I admire most met up with Darth Maul, and now he's toast. Well, I'm still here, and he's a ghost. I guess I'll train this boy. My, this here Anakin guy may be Vader someday later. Now he's just a small fry. He left his home and kissed his mommy goodbye, saying, soon I'm going to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
Soon I'm going to be a Jedi. I mean, it's just great.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. Yeah. And he manages to get the American Pie song done in 5.5 minutes instead of 8. Kudos for that,
too. I like
too.
that, yeah. I definitely like that. Well, and it's funny because it starts off with, the actual lyrics.
A long time ago in a galaxy far away.
Right, but long time ago.
Right, exactly.
Is the beginning of the movie.
Of American Pie, yeah.
So it's brilliant.
And it's the beginning. Oh, so yeah, it's the beginning of the movie
too. Yeah.
But it's also the original lyric to American Pie is a long time ago. Right. I can still remember, right?
Is it crazy how it all worked out? So to me,
there you go.
I think that epitomizes what I was saying before about how it just flowed effortlessly. I mean, I'm sure it's a ton of work.
Oh, yeah.
But how he was probably like driving his car and heard that song come up, and he probably just started thinking, long time ago
in a galaxy far away.
And he was probably like, shit, there's my next gold album.
The funny thing is that he had to actually understand the movie too.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man,
like
that movie is like all over the place.
Yeah.
But he sums it up perfectly. Like he literally gets every important plot point from the movie in the song. It's awesome.
And that's what he does so well with Gump. He grabs it all. So
what do you got for honorable mentions?
Okay, well, you already did Amish Paradise.
Okay.
A song that I was thinking to be in my top 5 was the Bedrock Anthem from 1993's Alapalooza, which is, the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Give it away.
Give it away. Yabba dabba yabba dabba dabba doo.
And I remember seeing an interview with Flea. He actually was kind of bummed that was what Weird Al did with their song. He thought he could have done better. Like,
oh, really?
He thought it was kind of lame. I disagree. I think it's awesome.
I completely disagree.
Especially the line about "got a baby elephant vacuum cleaner." I mean, come on.
Oh, I know. Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's
that's on my honorable mentions too.
Oh,
by the way.
Yeah. Working all day in the gravel pit, moving rocks on a big dinosaur.
That's it. Right. Yeah. That's great. I think it's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Barney Rubble, laugh like a hyena.
Barney Rubble, what a little wiener.
Yeah. And the video's fantastic.
Yeah. All right, what else?
Canadian Idiot.
Okay.
Which,
also on my honorable mention list. I think it's better than the Green Day version, personally. And that actually was almost my number 5. On the list. And the only reason that I switched it to Eat It was because I thought Eat It had to be mentioned because that was really the first big one for him.
Right. Okay.
So I felt like that deserved the spot more than Canadian Idiot. But I actually like Canadian Idiot more as a song.
Okay. All right. There you go. He did a song called My Pancreas.
Okay.
It's straight out of Linwood.
Okay.
And it's the style of Brian Wilson, kind of like a Pet Sounds kind of thing.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I've heard that one too.
And what's so cool is he obviously had to learn a lot about the pancreas, and it impacted Ben so much that at our church, they were doing some kind of a pageant, and he had to be a body part. And, all the kids were choosing arms, legs, eyes. And, of course, Ben chose the pancreas.
It's certainly unique.
Yeah.
Very nice. What else?
He did headline news.
Okay.
I love that, the crash test dummies. And I can go on and on. About the Pentiums. Another one rides the bus just because that was the very beginning. Lost on Jeopardy.
Okay.
I like
classic,
that.
the video classic for that
video
too.
Classic, and he brings up an architect as being smart. So
an interesting little side note about I Lost on Jeopardy. That of course is a parody of Greg Kinn's Our Loves in Jeopardy.
Yeah.
And Jeopardy would have been probably a number 1 hit, but I think what stopped it from being a number 1 hit was a Michael Jackson song.
Oh,
so,
really?
Kind of interesting that he did a parody of a song that kind of fell short to Michael Jackson, who he's also parodied.
Okay.
So I'm going, that's a little bit of a stretch, but anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. eBay.
Okay.
Which is
I Want It That Way.
I Want It That Way.
Backstreet
Which
Boys
again,
song.
that was one of the things I heard the song eBay, and I thought that was an original.
Okay.
And then when I
not
heard
hip to the Backstreet Boys.
Not hip to the Backstreet Boys.
I actually like the Backstreet Boys. I'll admit that.
I've heard more of them, and I do definitely. I appreciate their chops. They do
as far as
awesome.
that kind of music, I think they're really good at what they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I had eBay on my honorable mentions as well.
So what else did you have?
In addition to everything we've mentioned, I had Word Crimes.
Okay.
Which is a parody of Blurred Lines.
Blurred Lines.
Another genius Weird Al song where he talks about all the grammatical errors people make.
Yes.
Another one that you should check out the video for. I also had Bob on my list, the palindrome song. Gump, Canadian Idiot, Fat. Like a Surgeon, and that's all I had that we haven't mentioned. And you know what? I'm going to do an audible here.
Okay.
Living with a Hernia.
That's on my list.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Living with a hernia. I feel bad. It's great.
Yeah. And then I think he did a parody of Eye of the Tiger too, Ryer the Kaiser, right?
Ryer the Kaiser.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal.
So he's done a couple of Rocky parodies.
Yeah. Just when you brought up Fat, the video is fantastic.
Oh my God! Ding dong, yo, ding dong,
yo, ding dong, yo. It's like, you're not fat. You ain't nothing. Right near the end,
there's some great lyrics in that too.
Oh, the lyrics are great. And at the end of the video, when he's just walking away, and he puts his arm out of screen and he screams, which is what Michael did.
Yeah.
And then when he pulls his hand back in, it's in a mouse trap.
Yeah,
like,
but then there's like ho, and he pulls a hoe.
He pulls the hoe out. Yeah.
And then like he gets winded when he's walking at one point.
Right.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. Weird Al, we love you.
We love Weird Al.
Weird Al is awesome and a genius, no question. Well, this was a fun one.
Oh, this was a fun one.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it as always. And remember, if you want to participate in the conversation, you have a thought about Weird Al, you can email us, rankingpodcasts@yahoo.com, or tweet @JasonDavisVoice. The Ranking Things Podcast, a production of Jason Davis VoiceOver. Please visit jasondavisvoice.com if you need a voice for a commercial, internet and corporate video, e-learning, phone message, and more. I'm Jason Davis.
I'm Eric Wright.
Thanks for listening to the Ranking Things Podcast.
I want a new duck.